All right, good morning, y'all. How you doing? That's pretty good. So I unfortunately had to prepare for this presentation. Didn't get to join everybody last night because I heard there were some people who were out quite late. Thank you. Yes. So I've inserted a couple appropriate props in the middle of this presentation just to make sure that we can keep everybody fully energized. And so I'll be looking for those of you who are getting the sleep radar look. And I got my eyes on you right over there. All right, well, welcome. So I thought I'd start this morning by making an observation. So I'm going to talk a lot about our customer, your customer, the consumer, this morning. And when we started to plan this meeting, I said, we got to put the customer first. I got to go first, because that's the most important thing. And even though this is kind of like what I do, I got overruled, and we're talking about the customer last. But I said, okay, I'm going to turn that into an opportunity, and here's the opportunity, which is I'm still fairly new to this industry. I don't know a lot of you in this room. I still actually don't know a lot of you in this room. So I'm going to use the first couple days to really get to know you guys. And so I've done that. I've been watching kind of on the side and getting a feel for what you're all about, and I've made some observations. So my first observation is, man, you guys are seriously focused. Like, wow, like you guys are intense, you are driven, and you are entrepreneurs. And that's really great. But there's a downside to that, which is, man, you guys are seriously stressed out. Like really, now come on all, okay, so I've been watching you, we've had some pretty dynamic speakers, and you guys have been a little stressed out, so I thought I'd start with an exercise, just because I want to confirm to you all that you guys are really, truly the people who should be at this lab. All right, so I want everybody to take your hand, once you raise it up as high as you can. Everybody raise your hand as high as you can. Okay, you guys got it there? Good, now raise it even higher. Boom, look at that, you're all overachievers already. That was pretty amazing. All right, so as I mentioned, we're going to go through talking about the customer today, and I'm going to drill it down into kind of a couple really easy points for us to remember. We're going to go through 2 shifts. That's 2 things that are happening out there that are completely beyond your control, but they're resulting in 5 trends. Actually, they're resulting in a lot more than 5, but I picked the 5 that I thought would be most relevant for you today. And then once you've gone through those, we're going to talk about the 3 things that I think we need to change in order to take care of those things. 3 things we can change in order to be great. All right, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is something that, man, everybody talks about this. Everybody talks about the millennials. So this year, millennials, and it's disputed in terms of what the actual date range is of a millennial, but I'm going to go with people today who are aged 18 to 35 are millennials. They make up 47% of the workforce. It's almost half. Now, some of you might be thinking, so what? There's always new people coming into the workforce. What's all the big deal? They're always a little different. They always have their own way of doing things. So I thought I'd take a moment, and you guys probably know this, but let's go back and look at why this is really such a change for us as a country. So over here we have a map, and this shows you the number of people born each year, and it's broken by demographic range. So I started with the baby boomers. They're over there in the red, all the way over on the right-hand side. They're the ones who are exiting the workplace. Show of hands, how many of you in here would define yourself as a baby boomer? Okay, that's a lot of you, all right. So baby boomers, they got their name because of the boom we had in babies. Huge amounts of people came into the workforce. They were followed by Gen X. Now look at Gen X. Now here's your problem, guys. You're beginning to figure this out, right? Show of hands, how many of you are Gen X? All right, thank you. I am right with you. Yeah. By the way, we are the most cynical people in the world, I'm just telling you. So keep that in mind when you're dealing with a Gen Xer. So Gen Xers, one of the problems is that there just weren't very many of us, guys. Our parents, they weren't having babies. It just was not the thing to do in the 1970s. And so by default, less people were born. But then those baby boomers, those really, really confident people, turned around and had their own boomettes. Remember when we used to call them boomettes? The people that the baby boomers were going to have? And then we decided to call them Gen Y, and then we started calling them millennials. And now we settled on millennials. So look at this. The black indicates people aged 25 to 55. So I think that's the core of the workforce. Because back in I want to say maybe around 2005, 2006, as a Gen Xer, I'm looking at my future career opportunities going, those baby boomers, when they're out of here, that's when I get that job, right? Got to get those baby boomers out of here. And in 2005, you remember what all you baby boomers were saying? Okay, maybe not you. You're entrepreneurs. You guys are a little bit different. But go to those baby boomers who are working for the people that you're delivering to. What did they say in 2005? Heck, I'm going to retire when I'm 60. Things are going so great. My investments are cooking. Everything's looking good. I'm going to be out here. I don't even need to wait till I'm 65. Well, that made us feel really good. Gen X, I'm like, oh, yeah, my time's coming. This is great. And then the recession hit and everything changed. And those baby boomers no longer are even saying, I'm going to retire early. My gosh, a lot of them are saying, you know, I can't even afford to retire at 65. We're going to have to keep those people in the workforce for an even longer period of time. But here's the problem, guys. Look at the millennials. They're coming in, and they're coming in fast. Every year, that tweaks over one more notch, and we bring in about 50% more people than we had in Gen X into the workforce every year. So those millennials are going to be a huge component of the workforce. By the way, show of hands, how many of you have a millennial kid? Keep those hands up. How many of you have a millennial kid who is living with you? Oh, yeah. Still there. You guys, it's hard until you baby boomers get out of those jobs. The millennials are going to have a tough place going to find a place to work. All right, so now when we got it in context and we realize why it's such a big deal to talk about millennials, I'm going to tell you a few things about them. And again, you probably know this. You've heard it all before, but I like to talk about millennials, so we're going to do that for a little while. This is the first one. I love this. Millennials are great multitaskers. You guys all heard that, right? They're great multitaskers. Okay, well, research proves they're not any smarter than the rest of us. They don't possess the capability to multitask. The only thing in this world that can actually multitask is a multi-processing computer. But those millennials, man, they're wicked fast. Like they can go from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, wicked fast. So it actually makes them appear like they're multitasking. And that's an incredible skill that they can take with them and apply when they get to work. Another thing, they're highly confident, upbeat, and positive. Well, they should be. We've been telling them they're winners for their whole life. Do I have any millennials with me today? I know. Thank you. You are a winner. Yeah, thank you. We love you. We love you. But here's the funny thing, guys. These millennials, and they're getting up there in age. They're at 35. They're still upbeat, positive, and confident, despite the fact that this is the first generation. I don't know if you all millennials had heard this before, so I don't want to bum you out or anything, but this is the first generation that's actually being told that they're not going to do as well as their parents. This is the first generation that's truly struggling to reach a median income that allows them to live on their own and be financially independent. And that's pretty scary. But darn it, they're still upbeat, positive, and confident, so I want them on my team. All right, they yearn for the meaning of it all. So I was trying to think where this one came from, and I know where it comes from because I have kids of my own, and so I now appreciate where this comes from. So, you know, this is a pretty common thing. I'm sure you guys have experienced this. You're driving in the car, you got the kid in the back, and the kid's about 2 or 3 years old, and they keep asking you what? Why? Why? Why, Mom? Why is it like that? Why? Why? Well, you know what? Y'all answered them. You baby boomers said, oh, I'm going to answer you every single time you ask that question. And so we gave them the meaning of it. And then when they got old enough, they had the capability to go find the meaning on their own. You know how it works today, right? You go out to dinner with your friends, you're sitting around, you're having an argument, and one of you is really exclaiming that you really think James Taylor is 67, and somebody says, no way James Taylor is 67. Well, how quickly do you get the answer to that? It's right away, right? You remember what you used to do? You get a phone, maybe go call somebody, phone a friend, go to the library the next day if the library was open. They were able to find the meaning to just about anything they wanted. It was at their fingertips, and they've grown up with that capability. So they carry that capability forward with them. Finally, groupers and team players. So this has been an ongoing thing, and you see it today in the curriculum of education. You now see it getting its way into our office spaces, this idea of working as a team. And millennials have grown up doing that. I'm not going to say they caused it, but I think they've been subjected to it. So you've got a group of people who truly want to work with other people, truly want to build a community, and work as a group. Yet the irony of it is, and this is where I've got my own kids, she doesn't pick up the phone and call one of them, ever. What do? They text. That's right. Okay, so a couple more things about these millennials. Let's talk about their price consciousness. 65% say they compare prices when shopping on the internet. Of course they do. We all did. When you're a millennial, actually I should say when you're in that young age group, 18 to 35, you have less disposable income than any other generation that's out there. That happens to every generation at that age, not just millennials. So you become price conscious. The only difference is that now millennials have more ability to go online because there's so much price visibility out there. So they can use that to really help them make informed purchase decisions. 84% that they say they look at user-generated content. Remember, we said they're group players, team players. They truly other people's feedback, input, and most important, they want their support when making their purchase decisions. And then finally, 78% say they look at brand loyalty programs. And we're actually going to come back and talk about brands a little bit later on and how they play into the millennial purchase decision. Okay, so we're doing 2 shifts, right? So that's the first one, millennials. Can't do anything about it. They're here. But we need to figure out what we're going to do differently to react to the millennials coming into the workforce. The second is around technology. And I'm not going to spend a heck of a lot of time on technology because we talked about it a lot on the first day. And you guys know how much technology is impacting our business. But I just want to kind of point out a couple different facts. This first one, 1 in 3 workers uses at least 3 devices. All right, so 3 devices might be my laptop, my phone, and a tablet maybe. I bet there's people out there, you're one of them, who carry around possibly a laptop, phone, tablet, or use all 3 of those during your workday. And 2 of those are mobile. So that's a big change from what it used to look like when you were in your office. But let's talk about how much time is actually spent on those devices. So in 2010, the average adult consumer spent 3 hours in a digital capacity. That's a lot of time. I wonder what it was back in like 2000. It had to be like, gosh, I don't know, very low, right? 3 hours a day interacting digitally in some form or another. But it's gone up since then. In 2014, that's 5 hours and 46 minutes they spend now in this digital environment. That's an increase of 2.5 hours. Well, what did they stop doing? Did everybody just suddenly find 2.5 hours in their day that they're going to fill? So what did they stop doing? TV. That was my first guess, too. I said they're watching less TV. Nope. TV viewing time has remained about... Now, thankfully, in 2013, and you saw the stat earlier this week, was the first time that the use of digital actually surpassed the use of TV. So we've crossed that threshold. But TV time's been fairly consistent. So I have a theory about this, and I'm going to do one more data point to kind of make this point. That actually, when you look at it, it's about 2.5 hours or so is spent in online digital activities. And the rest of that time is spent in not really online digital activities. So my theory, when you look at what fills those things up, which are things like texting, social networks, that's Candy Crush, in case you don't recognize it, game. I'm on level 256. Anybody higher than that? That's pretty good. Dang. That's a lot of time. We'll have to catch up later because I'm stuck on 256. All right. And then YouTube video. There's a lot of video viewing that's going on also. So my theory is that actually what we're doing is we've found 2.5 hours of unproductive time in our life that we are now filling with these other things. And here's my case in point. And I bet you guys have this too if you have kids at home. This is our Thursday night. Thursday night we sit around, go and get in front of the TV, got all 5 people. I got 3 young kids, not that young, 17, 13, 11. Yes, my 11-year-old has a phone. Please don't pass judgment. It's okay today. We're sitting around, TV's on, and what's everybody doing? You know what they're doing. They're on their phone, they're on the tablet. So we're kind of watching TV, but we're on digital at the same time. We're not really multitasking. Guess what, guys? We're not really watching that TV. But they're using, and actually the only thing out of it that I think is a positive sign is that it actually shows how kind of unengaged TV viewing was. Like really, they can turn on the TV and now they do something else and they're pretty much just as content as they were before. So I think it's everybody's feeling all that downtime. You're feeling downtime in front of the TV. You're feeling downtime when you're waiting in line at the bank. You're feeling downtime when you're sitting in a traffic light, We see that all the time too, right? So I think what we've done is we've taken all of our unproductive time and we've filled it with this digital enablement. It's an interesting concept. My fear is that that will have some type of long-term repercussion on us, because now, like, there's really never downtime. Think about it. As soon as you've got that moment when you have nothing to do, what do? Reach for that phone. There's got to be something more engaging here than actually stimulating my brain with a little bit of unproductive time. But I think that's what's happening. So there may be long-term ramifications of this, but right now what we have to deal with is the fact that people are digitally turned on all the time. Okay, so those are the two things. You've got this population shift, you got the technology impact, and to me that says, hey, that changes work. We got new work rules out there, guys. New work rules to meet the new millennial consumer who's technologically turned on like all the time. Okay, so I've listed a bunch there. You can kind of read through them. I'm only going to cover 5 today, so if you see something on here that I didn't cover and you're interested in, come find me afterwards. We can talk through one of those also. But I wanted to pick the 5 that I thought would have the most impact on us. So, you guys ready? Yeah? Okay, here we go. Number 1, purpose. And we already talked about this. The first speaker talked about purpose. So the phrase that everybody says is, millennials like purpose-driven organizations. They need a purpose-driven organization. And I'm one of those Gen Xers, and I'm like, well why are they searching for purpose and I'm not? Well, it's not that the millennials are seeking more purpose in their life. Guys, human beings seek purpose in their life. The difference is that today, those millennials recognize that they can't get that same fulfillment, that same sense of purpose in the way that the rest of us have. They're just not seeing that they can be fulfilled going to work and making a profit. So they're seeking a different sense of purpose in a different way. And I think this is driven by 3 things. First, those millennials, guys, they're individuals. Remember what we talked about before. They've been told from day one that they can be what they want to be, achieve what you want to achieve. You can be anything. They're truly independent, they're goal-driven, and they believe they can change the world. That is not the reinforcement I got as a kid. I got the, hey, you better find a job that pays you, because I don't want you coming back to my house, right? So they've got a separate sense right from the get-go. Number 2, a lot of people over the course of history have found purpose in religion. But up until about 1960, that was a fairly strong sense of purpose-providing stuff. Well, what's happened? Participation in religion, participation in church is on the decline. So you've got a whole generation that's come in that is not using religion to fulfill that purpose in their life. So there's a void there. So they're looking for something different than we are. And then the third, think about these millennials. They're in a house. They're watching you guys, their boomer parents, go off to work. They're watching, and boomers, man, you guys are committed. You work hard, you are loyal. You've been going to work the whole time, and you come home, and you're like, darn it, I didn't get that raise. I got laid off. And this is what's been happening. They lived through the recession. They've seen the impact, and they've seen that this quest for profit has not resulted in a quest of self-fulfillment. And what else is happening at the same time? Mark Zuckerberg, a kid straight out of school, gets on the cover of Time magazine. Well, that doesn't seem right. Well, my parents don't look very self-fulfilled going through life, being a business person, so maybe I shouldn't do that either. Maybe I got to do something different if I want to find self-fulfillment. And if you think I'm making this up, let me go back. I know you guys are all going to recognize this. This was probably the #1 TV commercial from 1999.
When I grow up, I want to file all day.
I want to claw my way up to middle management.
Be replaced on a whim.
I want to have a brown nose.
I want to be a yes man. Yes woman.
Yes, sir. Coming, sir.
Anything for a raise, sir.
When I grow up,
I want to be underappreciated.
Be paid less for doing the same job.
I want to be forced into early retirement.
You guys all remember that commercial? Yeah, well, so did the millennials. All right, so purpose-driven is a huge opportunity because you have a captive audience. So if you can find a way to provide self-fulfillment to millennials by working for you guys, that's a huge win. So I'm going to go through the poster child, I would say, of purpose-driven companies. And hopefully you guys are all familiar with this. This is a story about Tom's, and the guy over there, entrepreneur just like you guys, Blake Makowski. I'll tell you a quick story about Blake. So Blake, you know, good kid, growing up, goes to college, gets a little disenchanted with college, drops out, decides he wants to be an entrepreneur. And like maybe some of you in this room, he started a couple businesses, and they didn't go so well. And then he kind of finally got the hang of it, and then he got a little bored, and that's when he went a different direction. He decided that, well, I'm sure you all have been thinking this too, that you ought to be on Survivor, right? So he decided he had to be on Survivor, the TV show. And so he went to the producers of Survivor, and he said, can I be on the show? And they said, well, hey, we got this other show for you. It's called The Amazing Race. And Blake loved this idea because he has a sister named Paige who's kind of just like him. And he's like, hey, the two of us together, like, we could be really good. So this entrepreneur takes the time, joins The Amazing Race. This is like in 1999, I think. So Blake and Paige are on the show, neck and neck. They just miss winning by like 40 seconds in the last race. So he almost won his $1 million prize. But they didn't. So here's where reality TV's actually had a positive influence on something. So during this experience, Blake had the opportunity to go to Argentina. Kind of Argentina. So after he was done with that, and after he finished his reality TV stunt, and he was kind of trying to figure out what he should do with his life, he went back to Argentina. And when he went back to Argentina, that's when he realized there was an opportunity, because there were too many people in Argentina who didn't have shoes on their feet. And that bothered him. He said, well, I can make shoes. I can make shoes for them. And if I make a pair of shoes for somebody in the US, I can give a pair of shoes tomorrow to somebody who needs a pair of shoes. And so he came up with Tom's. Tom's being short for tomorrow. Couldn't actually fit the word tomorrow on the back, so we just shortened it down to Tom's. It says Tom's on the back of the shoe. So today, Tom's, the poster child, has coined the phrase one for one, buy one from me and I'll give one to somebody else, and just recently surpassed the milestone of giving away 10 million pairs of free shoes, which is pretty outstanding. And they've now taken that idea to other products, and they're trying to just recreate that business model so they can give things to other people. Now, this has kind of become so popular that one for one has almost become synonymous with purpose-driven organizations, because a lot of people are doing the same thing. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to go to the extreme of being a Tom's in order to have appeal to millennials for purpose-driven and self-fulfillment. So I'm just going to give you a glimpse and introduce you to another organization. It's called Game Changers 500. I don't know if anybody here is familiar with this, but this was started by an organization that said, you know, in the olden days, we based the company's success on their profit. And profit's really easy to measure and then compare so that you can see how you're doing versus somebody else. But in today's world, we need to base companies on purpose. The purpose is really hard to measure. So they came up with a way to measure the purpose-driven nature of an organization. So they came up with a couple different things here. They said that you can be purpose-driven based on why you are in business. Are you in business to maximize benefit, not just profit? You can be purpose-driven because they base it on what you offer. Do you offer products and services that create a better world? Or finally, can you do it on how you run your business? Do you have a positive impact on people or the planet? And what you see under below are badges that you can earn based on how well you perform in those different criteria. And so by applying this technique to it, they've been able to come together with these 500 companies and really rate them in terms of how they perform on a purpose-driven nature. You can do this too. You can go online, you can apply, you can see if you can be one of the game-changing 500 companies that are out there. But they did take it one step further, and this may resonate with the millennials. Some of you baby boomers, if you don't get this, come see me afterwards. I'll explain what it means. But they took it to the next level, and they turned it into gamification. Because, guys, gamification's hot. So not only do you get these badges, but you get to wear them like a badge of honor when you go to this internet site. So they took the ability to measure what they're doing, and then they added the ability to stand out by what you're doing. So check it out, Game Changers 500, if you're interested in figuring out how you might become and be measured as a more purpose-driven organization. Okay, that was number one. Number two, multi-purpose. Just tell me what it does. So long ago, products had one purpose and one purpose only, and then along came the phone. I call it a phone. That's actually an ironic name for it at this point in time. And this phone, you want to talk about the ultimate multi-purpose device, So I started counting what this thing actually does for me. And this is my list. Yeah, I text on it. It's my radio, my alarm clock. And like, it's not just doing that, it's actually replaced something else that I may have bought before that would have done that. It's like replacing other things. I'm just buying one thing and it's doing it all. And then, was it Corey? You know what else I can add to this? My house key. I don't need a house key anymore. I can just use my phone for that too. It's amazing. So when you think about it, products today have more value because they have more purpose. And some of you may be taking that for granted, so I thought I'd just do a little show and tell. Yes, I went to Target. I love Target. It's one of my favorite stores. I know my Gen X friends do, too. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of reacquaint you guys with what's out there that's multi-purpose. And I'm going to start with one of my favorite topics to talk about. This is a tube of toothpaste. And actually, toothpaste, if you think about it, in the olden days, there was really only two types of toothpaste. There was Crest, which fought cavities, and there was Colgate. What did Colgate do? Whiten your teeth. That was it. You could either have no cavities or white teeth. Couldn't have them both. And you were either, you guys are laughing, but I'm serious, right? I mean, you were either a Crest or a Colgate person, like die hard. That's what you did. And so then, this is like the first multi-purpose product that came around. One toothpaste actually said, wait, we can do both. And they put them together. Anybody remember what that was? Aquafresh, yes, with the stripes through it. Amazing breakthrough. You can have fresh breath, whiter teeth, all at the same time and no cavities. It was amazing. And since then, there's been this unbelievable explosion in toothpaste. I don't know how many of you actually shop for toothpaste. It's a nightmare. Oh my gosh. Because every toothpaste has a million purposes, and you can never find what you bought last time. So I like to bring toothpaste and show people about this one. So I found this one. This one's from Crest. And I was really looking for one that had multi-purpose in it, but I found this one instead because this one says, be inspired. So this toothpaste here actually is going to inspire you. Are you a Crest person? You are now. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, so, I'm just going to show you because we're taking it for granted, guys, that, these things are happening. But by the way, there's more value to that toothpaste. I might pay 10 cents more for it now because it's going to inspire me. That's worth 10 cents probably, I think. All right, here are two of my favorite. You guys have seen these forever, right? Gone are the days of just drinking to give yourself refreshment. It has to have a purpose. This one is going to give me focus, and this one's going to give me energy. I wasn't really sure which one I needed this morning. And I heard that a lot of you guys were out kind of late yesterday, and I was going to pick on you all, but since I didn't stay out, I don't know who you are, so I can't really pick on you. So I'm just going to go over to you, because you always sit there, man, you need energy. I'm just really, and I'm going to give you the focus one. All right, so I've got one more to share. Oh, no, actually, I've got two. Yeah, it just keeps getting better and better, really, what these products are that they come up with. I've got gum. I used to chew gum to clean my teeth or freshen my breath, right, or because I was bored, one of them. But this one actually gives me vitality. It's going to make me... Do you want the vitality? You do, don't you? Okay, all right. And then lotion, of all things. I know the woman's all perked up. I'm coming down the aisle this way. Don't worry about it. Lotion, which is supposed to make your skin better, this one's actually going to relieve my stress at the same time. I'm not kidding. It says right here, stress relieving lotion. All right, so we're taking it for granted that these products are going to serve more than one purpose. The benefit, guys, is that they're willing to pay more for them. If a product has more than one purpose, it has more value. If it has more value, you can make more money. So what we need to do is we need to find those products that serve more than one purpose. We need to feature those products as serving more than one purpose because then we get more value. I'm going to show you one more. I'm a runner. Show of hands, how many runners there are in the room? Good, nice. Keep it up. You guys probably know what this is. It's a very fine-looking pair of socks. This is actually a compression sock. Now, what I really like about this is that I used to wear running socks to protect my feet so I didn't get calluses and keep my shoes clean, right? That's kind of why you wear socks. You protect your feet and keep your shoes clean. That's about all it does. No, but these are actually going to make me faster. This pair of socks is going to make me a faster runner. That's pretty amazing. It also does something else on there. It says it's going to give me thermoregulation. In a pair of socks? That's pretty outstanding. All right, so the moral of the story on this one, guys, we've got multi-purpose products out there. They're important to our customers. We need to feature those because they have more value. You can make more money. Okay, third trend, telecommuting. Skip the drive. Oh, my drive is getting worse and worse every day. And actually, I went online and I looked at it to see if this was just me or if this was actually a phenomenon. And the average commute time has gone from 22 minutes up to 26 minutes. It's an increase of, it's actually only about 3 when I didn't round it like that. It was about 3 minutes per direction. That's 6 minutes per day. And I did some quick math on that. 6 minutes per day times 88 million people who drive to work. That's 1.2 billion hours of wasted time in the car. It also equates to about 2.6 billion gallons of gasoline that are wasted as you sit there in your commute. That's a lot of time to be wasted. Go back to shift number 1. Technology enables us to be more productive in that time. So you're either going to sit there in traffic on your phone, or you're just going to skip the commute altogether and be more productive at home. Technology's enabled us to do that, and now a lot of people are telecommuting. That has its own problems associated with it, so I thought I'd run one quick video that you guys may be familiar with.
Trip Crosby
has joined the meeting.
Beth?
Has joined the meeting.
Hello?
Tyler?
No, this is Beth from ICS.
Oh, hey, Beth. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Yeah. Just making it, you know.
Tyler?
Has joined the meeting.
All right, well, this is Trip. Who's here?
Tyler's here.
Beth's here.
Okay, the purpose of today's meeting is to discuss the...
Yeah, I'll be able to do it in like 30 minutes. John?
Has joined the meeting.
Hi, John.
Hi.
I was just trying to go over the purpose of today's meeting, which is to discuss the
Tyler?
Has joined the meeting.
Sorry, guys, I got cut off. Is Paul here? Send him an invite.
Put in your access code.
No, that's your PIN number.
It should be a 9-digit number.
Try pressing the pound key.
Paul.
Has joined the meeting.
Any questions before we move on?
Yes, this is Beth. What's our best plan of attack for the second quarter?
Question
What
actually...
we should do... Oh,
Go ahead.
Oh, I think
Well,
what we should do
it
is
actually
really
depends on
diversify.
how you look at it, because
and
the
really come...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I think
Given
what we-
sales,
what we
we're at
really-
a...
I think
Let me just say that...
Okay.
That was a great graph, John. Tyler?
Well, my main concern with the projections from last year was that they're just insufficient. I mean, they're not even taking into account.
Did we lose Tyler again?
Hello?
John, are you guys taking distributions? John?
Oh, my bad. I was on mute. Let me start over.
So I've prepared a presentation. I'm sharing it with all of you. You should be able to see it on your screen right now.
Got it.
I don't see a link anywhere.
It says I need to download a plugin.
We are all using Macs, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
How can you?
Financials are looking great. Paul, do you have any comments on staffing?
I was thinking about that because we get a few more contractors types in. Oh, I'm sorry.
Rex, get down!
No, I feel like when I look at the numbers last quarter, yeah, you couldn't really tell a huge difference. So if we want to really tighten that up, then I...
To me, staffing is a huge impact.
Is that?
Is that me?
It's not me, I don't think.
I just want to go over a couple of details as we move into our next section here. We got 3 new departments coming on board.
I'm breaking up a little bit, guys.
By the end of Q3.
Driving to
So
a dead
I need
spot.
everyone to give me detailed evaluations each
Sorry,
month
guys.
so that we know. That's it, guys. Beth, you'll send out a recap email that could have basically taken the place of this whole meeting, correct?
Yep, always do.
Yeah, thanks for doing that, Beth.
Dave, you been here the whole time?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, thanks everyone once again. Oh, one more.
All right, 54% of Americans telecommute or work from home at least one day a week, and that number is increasing by 63% per year. So we got a lot of people who are using their home as their office. So let's talk about that. What's that mean to us? Here's what we know about them. Telecommuters do their own shopping. 57% buy their own supplies, 60% equipment, 87% buy their own furniture. That's pretty good news. That's the opportunity. Here's the downside. 44% said they went to a retail store to get it. Now, my guess is a lot of you in here don't really have a retail store to fulfill that need. So the question is what are we going to do to capture the office supply consumption need of that telecommuter? There's an opportunity here, guys. Can you create a home office supply kit for your customers? They need to control that spend just as much, maybe even more, than they control the spend that's happening right there in their own office. You can help them do that. Can you provide an online ordering opportunity, maybe even home delivery to some of those folks? If you can't do that, that's all right. Deliver to the office. A lot of them said when they bought it at retail, if they didn't buy it at retail, they bought it online, and they were willing to wait 4 days to have it delivered. They were willing to wait 4 days to have it delivered. So they either needed it right away, or they were willing to wait 4 days. If they need it right away, ship it to the office. They're not working at home every day. They're only working at home some days. Finally, can you provide customer service for them so that if they have a question, a need, want to place an order, they have an opportunity to do so? Okay, number 4, flexible dimensions, shifting space, shifting time. I'm going to look at my time because I'm going to run out of it if I don't keep going quickly. Okay, so let's just go through this really quick. I know a lot of you have heard about this. You've seen it. And again, it's those wonderful millennials. They're all sitting in the back. They're still awake back there. They are. That's happening. This idea of group enablement, they grew up in a curriculum that fostered teamwork. We're bringing that into the office and saying we need more teamwork in the office. And in order to do that, we need to break down the walls, the barriers. We've got to get rid of all those cubicles and create a community collaborative space. 83% increase in offices who say they have community collaborative space between 2012 and 2013. Guys, this is a real thing. But like most good Americans, when we get something and get a hold of it, we go nuts. So we've gone from cubicle heck to chaos in the office environment. We tore down all those walls, and a lot of offices went to this great open floor plan that fostered community, fostered teamwork and collaboration. No, yeah, it does. Just look at how well they're all working. You've seen in your own office, right? I actually think that this trend is responsible for the success of Beats. You've all seen it, right? Where's everybody getting their privacy from? They're getting it from their headphones. We've created that. We created a whole category just for Dr. Dre. It's fantastic. So we need to find a way, and it's happening, to bring that back. So the pendulum swung. It swung from these individual cubicles all the way over to this big open space, but now we're going to get it right, because it's probably somewhere in the middle. And we went to NeoCon. I bet a lot of you actually went to NeoCon last week, and this was one of my favorite things that I saw. Captures it right here. We do need private spaces. People need time to think. They need time to reflect. They need time to be productive in the office, and we have to enable that with their environment. And the furniture people are way ahead of us, guys, and they're thinking about this, and they're coming up with solutions. And this is one right here. You can have these small private spaces, but once you step outside that, you go back into your community and your collaboration and your work zone. That's okay, because we've enabled both to coexist side by side. There are a bunch of other trends that I saw at NeoCon. I'm not going to go through all these because I am going to run out of time. Technology integration, man, technology's everywhere. It's on your wrist. It's on my dog. It's not now. If I had one of those things on my dog, all it would do is confirm that he sleeps 17 hours a day, because I think he does. But technology's everywhere. Privacy cocoons. So Yeah, you can create a whole separate workspace, or maybe you can simply provide one piece of furniture that creates a privacy cocoon. That can be huge to a worker. By the way, you can create a community space by simply putting in a cafe top and 4 bar stools. There's your opportunity. Don't wait for an office who's making a big project change. Just go, you know what, you want a little bit more community? You see that old corner over there that's got 4 filing cabinets that I swear you're not using? Take those filing cabinets out, put in this top, put in these 4 chairs. By the way, it takes advantage of the sit to stand because bar stools are this really cool item that's kind of like halfway between sit and stand, so people think it's really great. Put that over there in the corner, and you're starting to get a community space. Got an office that's already gone to all community space? Give them a privacy chair. Give them a privacy screen. Really simple, small things that they can get transition. Multi-purpose everything. This goes with the multi-purpose trend we were talking about before. Every surface in the office, if you saw this in the icon, every surface is not just a whiteboard, but it's also Post-it, it's magnetic, it is privacy. Every surface serves multiple reasons. Sit to stand, this is huge. Congratulations, you've all been sitting here. You know that sitting is the new smoking, right? So you guys all need to get off the wagon, right? Okay. All right, and then community to individual that we talked about. All right, flex in space, flex in time. 2/3 of companies are employing flex time. You know what that means? It's not working 9 to 5. Maybe you can avoid that commute if you start earlier, go later. But what that means in the office is you need a space to equip people with the capability to provide for those employees while they're in their office at different times. 41% say they have exercise programs in the office. That's another huge opportunity. Okay, reevaluation. I'm actually going to go through this really quickly because I want to get to what does all this mean to you. So you've got 5 trends that are going on in the workplace, and they're impacting what we have to do. And there's really only 3 things we have to change. It's really simple, just 3 things. We got to change what you sell, you got to change what you say, and you got to change how you say it. So I'm going to start with that catalog, right? Because that's really what we've been saying, is that it's all in that darn catalog. So I want to share with you a story. I started to do some research on catalogs, and I said, how are other people doing with catalogs? Like, are other people still sending out a bunch of catalogs? And so when I went to research this, I went online. I found this website, the National Mail Order Association, that has stats on catalogs. And I thought this was pretty telling. But I didn't have to go to the website. I actually had something happen at my house that kind of brought everything to light for me. Anybody get this? Whew. If you didn't, I have it right here. Oh, this is 17 pounds of catalogs from Restoration Hardware. Yeah, all right, I know. And I got these all at the same time. They came in that package, wrapped up, shipped to me, UPS ground. 17 pounds of catalogs all at one time. I was so blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't bought anything from Restoration Hardware in like 7, 8 years. I must think I'm really special. What do you do when something special happens to you? You post it on Facebook. That's what I did. So I posted on Facebook. I say, hey, look, guys, look what I got from Restoration Hardware. I was shocked. Within an hour, I had 5 of my friends respond, hey, I got the same thing. I was like, oh, it wasn't just me. I wasn't feeling as special anymore. But it did cause me to go online and look and see what was really going on. So I went to Twitter to see what was going on. And some of these comments are not so great. So Restoration Hardware decided then that they would tell everybody what their strategy was. Our strategy is to, they go, don't get mad at us. We don't mail things all the time. We only mail things once a year. Once a year, we're going to send this to you. Please don't be mad at us. And then they included this handy-dandy note here that tells me how their carbon footprint has been minimized because they're only shipping. I'm not kidding. It's right here. The carbon footprint's gone down because they're only shipping once a year. So I thought, this is not a good strategy. So I told you I hadn't shopped at Restoration Hardware for 5, 6, 7 years. What I didn't tell you is I had actually just recently bought a sofa for my family room. I didn't go to Restoration Hardware. When I decided I wanted to buy a sofa, did I go looking around my house for a bunch of catalogs that I might have received a year ago? No, where'd I go? Online. I went online to find that sofa. And Restoration Hardware wasn't even part of my consideration set. You know why I wasn't thinking about them? Because they hadn't talked to me an entire year. I'd forgotten all about them. And I thought, well, maybe that mirrors the strategy some of our dealers have. Not you guys, you're our exceptional few. But we have people who take a catalog, send it out, and they're done. That was their marketing plan. But that's not good, guys. You're sending them a reference tool they're not even using, and you're only touching them one time a year. You know what that means when it's time for them to make a purchase? They're not even going to think about you. Now, Restoration Hardware could have sent me one catalog. Because when I open up this catalog, it takes me about 2 pages to get a sense of who they are, what they do, and what type of products I can buy for them. I get that on the cover and in 2 pages. I got it. I didn't need 17 pounds. So what if your marketing strategy is to consistently send small reminders of who you are and what it is you do? Not reference tools. They're going to go online for product selection. But you've got to remind them who you are and what you do. So when we decided to look at the catalog, we said, let's go out and see how many people are actually using the catalog. This is it. These are your customers, by the way. This is our research to a bunch of our dealers, to your end users. And when we asked them, we came back with 13%. There are some people who need that catalog. Don't stop your catalog completely. That's not a good marketing strategy. There are core users out there. I bet they're baby boomers, just a hunch. But there are core users out there. About 13% say they use that catalog on a frequent basis. But look, there's 30% who don't use it at all. So you have an opportunity to identify who are my 13 who use it, who are my 30 that don't, and change your strategy of how you're going to reach those customers. I want to share one other part of research that we did with you, which is to kind of reinforce what people are thinking and how they're buying. We asked customers, we said, please tell us about your most recent office products purchase. Where did you go first when you were deciding what to buy? 54% said they went online first. 20% said they went to that catalog first. 23% went to a retail store. 3%, I don't know what they did. Okay, so that's interesting data. Now we're looking at people who identified having an independent dealer as their preferred supplier. Let's see what actually ended up happening. Well, the people who used the catalog said that they did go to their independent dealer catalog and purchase from their independent dealer. It's good. Good capture there. Good share of wallet. What about online? Oh, let me do retail store first. What about retail store? Most of you don't have it. You lost a lot of that. You saved about 3%. It's because there are a couple people who do have retail stores. What about online? We lost it there, guys. Half the people who went online first went somewhere else. They did not go to their preferred office supplier. So when you put all that together and you look at those last 100 purchases, for lack of a better way of talking about it, only 50% of those went to the IDC. 50% went somewhere else. They went to the big boxes, they went to clubs, they went to Target, Walmart. We lost 50% of the opportunity, primarily from online. And we said, why is that? Why didn't you go there? Number one answer, poor website. We've already covered that. We're not going to talk about it in this session. Number two, value perception. I perceive their prices to be too high. Or they don't carry the kind of products I want to buy. Or finally, you know what? I don't even know who they are. So we have to figure out what it is we're going to say. What is it you're going to say about yourself, your brand in the marketplace? What is your brand equity? And is it resonating with those customers? Because if it's not, if it's a brand equity that you invented for a baby boomer 20 years ago, it's time to freshen it up. And are you reaching them? Are you even getting that brand message to your customer? Millennials think brands are important. So you have to spend some time investing in your brand. As a matter of fact, millennials think brands play a bigger role in their life than some of the predecessors in front of them. What do they want in a brand? They want a brand that's truly going to solve a problem. They want a brand that's going to reward their loyalty. Remember we said they're not committed? But when they are committed, they're committed to you and they want to be rewarded for that. You have to tell them they're doing a good job. This is it. This is your chance to tell them they're doing a good job. Be authentic. Don't make something up. They want a real brand. You got to be accessible 24/7. Yes, you should have a purpose-driven initiative. And gosh darn it, have a personality. Because we're fun, upbeat, loving people. So we want those kind of brands to be a reflection of who we are. And these are some of the brands that they choose as their most famous or most popular. There's a good mix on here, guys. There's brand new brands, like Warby Parker's only been in the market for like 3 years. And you got like Oreo, Ford, those guys, they've been around forever, but they're transforming themselves. They're reaching out to millennials in new ways and polishing up the brand. So you don't have to change your brand, you just have to be relevant to today's consumer. You have to refresh it. So how are you going to do that? Find your value. Feature those products that people want to buy. Feature cool products. They know you carry all the other stuff. They know you got paper clips and manila folders. What do they not know you have that you're selling that you want to capture their wallet? What about your delivery value proposition? Warby Parker wins because they make cool products, a great price, with an unbelievable service proposition. You guys familiar with Warby Parker? They totally transformed an incredibly monopolistic vision eyewear industry. They disrupted it almost overnight, all because of their ability to provide this unique solution. And then they messaged the heck out of it over and over and over again. Are you messaging your value proposition? You guys deliver better than anybody else. Everybody's proud of Amazon, 2 days Prime. I paid for Prime, it comes in 2 days, woohoo. You guys deliver it next day, in the morning, hand-delivered to their desk by somebody who might even be the coach of their kid's soccer team. Are you talking about that? I mean, that's a huge point of difference. Integrate into your local community. I wrote a blog for OPI a while ago where I was talking about my running store. I go to this running store to buy shoes all the time. Not just because I need a new fitting, I only did that once. I buy new shoes about every 3 months. I buy the same pair over and over again. I could get it online, it's $10 cheaper. I know that, I've looked at it. But I go to my local store because they know me, they treat me well, and whenever I go there, there's something special about dealing with them that makes me happy. Be sure they know you have a compelling price proposition. Don't be bashful about it and just don't advertise a low price. Sometimes they don't even know what it is. It's not just a low price. Millennials want cool products at a low price. They want to know that they're getting style for less. We skipped that part of the presentation, but they want style for less. Fulfill that need for them. And then ultimately make sure that the design, the way you're presenting that, is relevant and fresh and personable. That's what you're going to do with your brand. That's your brand equity. That's your brand story. And now you have to spread that word. You have to tell everybody who you are so that they know, so that they can interact with you. So I started to do a little bit of an audit to find out where your brand actually lives. And I came up with all these different touch points. You got maybe the salesperson. You got catalogs and flyers and brochures. You got the delivery guy. You got emails. Maybe your trucks have the brand on it. Invoices, website. Maybe the box, when they call in the customer service. These are all touch points of where your brand is. There's a lot. There are a lot of places that your brand lives. But are you touching the right person with that message? Let's look at who those people are. When you went to Vision, we talked about the empowered user. About 70% of the people in the office who are empowered to make a purchase decision about office supplies. Well, you break them into a couple different categories. We're going to talk about the order aggregator. Yeah, I talk about her a lot. The VDM, vendor decision maker. Yes, you closed the sale with the vendor decision maker. Congrats, the hard work begins now. Go find that order aggregator. You need to make sure she knows who you are. And you're probably doing a pretty good job. But then you get down to that chooser. That chooser could be a telecommuter, flex that time person, probably a millennial. They're empowered to make their own purchase decision. They don't even know who you are. You've got to get your brand message to everybody who's empowered to make a purchase decision. And this is how I think it breaks out today, because I don't think we're doing a very good job at this, guys. Look at our vendor decision makers, not very many of them. Look at our order aggregators, look at our choosers. Now, if you've got branded trucks, they're probably seen by everybody. That's a fairly good and consistent reinforcement of who you are. That's a good investment. Now let's look at the vendor decision maker. Probably tons of touches with this person. Your salesperson, invoicing, websites, customer service phone calls, back and forth. Lots of integration. They know who you are. What about our order aggregator? Maybe not so bad. Probably got a delivery person that may drop off something for an order aggregator. They're probably the one getting all those catalogs and brochures, direct mail things that you do. They're probably going online to place orders. They get that box that's got your brand on the outside, hopefully. Maybe getting emails. You probably have pretty good share of mind with your order aggregator. But guess what, guys? Look at all those choosers. How are you touching them? So I put these in gray because I'm not really sure if we're getting through. Does the chooser know your delivery person? Does the chooser ever see any of your collateral, your marketing materials? What about your boxes? Do they see those? If we don't make brand impressions on the people who are ordering the products, you're not part of the consideration set. You don't have the share of wallet. You lose. We have to find a way to reach those folks. And I'll go back to Restoration Hardware. Don't send them 17 pounds one time a year. Give them small, subtle reminders of who you are and what you sell. And guys, you can get that in 2 pages. You can do it with an email. You can do it with direct mail. So the challenge in front of you is to get on this wheel. The first thing you have to do, fine-tune your brand message. Go back to that equity. If you're not saying the right thing, they're not going to hear you no matter how many times you hit them with the message. So you've got to develop a brand equity that resonates with all of those choosers in the office. Then get their contact information. That's one of the best things you can do with anybody walking into the office. If they don't walk out with new contact information, that's not a good call. They've got to walk out with more contact information than they walked in with. And they've got to feed that contact information back to your marketing people who are then going to send touchpoint stuff to them. Some of it's digital, some of it's print. I'm not going to do United commercial, but by the way, all of that this year is available with your ad allowance dollars. Just wait, it is. I'm serious. So get those touch points out to them, and then capture the information. We talked about that customer journey. This is it. When you email them something, go back and look at the data. Did they open the email? Were they engaged? Did they buy something? You've got the ability, because you're local, to really look at all that information. And then go back and repeat the wheel and do a better job. So that's the story, guys. It's really easy. You just have to change 3 things. What you sell, what you say, how you say it. No problem, right? You can take advantage of all these opportunities. You got your 2 shifts, you've got your 5 trends, and you got your 3 things to do. The good news is we're going to help, and you guys are going to be successful. Thank you very much.